And that's when he stumbles onto something interesting and very unsettling. While searching old reports, Martinez finds a closed but unresolved stalking complaint from years earlier. The victim who filed it is a woman named Carrie, and as it turns out, she was Daniel's ex-girlfriend. The more Martinez reviews, the more disturbing the pattern becomes. The report claims she was stalked for weeks by an obsessed man who impersonated multiple people, manipulating her through fake identities. Detectives quickly locate Carrie and bring her in for an interview. When they sit down with her, they uncover a story so disturbingly similar to Crystal's, it opens up an entirely new theory.
I think it was, like I said, a couple months I broke up with him a couple months into my freshman year. He, he was pretty emotional, I would say. Sort of desperation would maybe be a word I would use to describe after the breakup of, please don't do this, kind of, crying, that sort of thing, that I can recall. And then I started to get messages from his roommate, and that person's name is Tom, on AOL Instant Messenger. And I know Tom is real because they were roommates. If I called him, Tom would sometimes pick up the phone. They had a joint room and a joint phone. Tom, his role, I would say, was sort of to gain sympathy from me for Dan and continue to encourage me to communicate with Dan. There was perhaps some indication that he was, or was, because of the breakup, just really not doing well. So this, made me keep communication up with Dan. And Tom ended up being Dan, right? So all these people I'm going to tell you about end up being Dan Krug, not Tom. Yeah, even though Tom is a real person, he was not sending me these messages.
Suffice it to say, what Carrie tells detectives sounds all too familiar. Everything she describes echoes the same pattern detectives have been seeing with Crystal, but the parallels don't stop there.
Things I remember is a group of my friends from our dorm had met, I don't even know how, some cadets from the Air Force Academy.
Sure.
And so we all went to a movie, something super innocuous, and there was like a group of us. I must have told Dan about that. And I think it was 2 or 3 days later, I got a message from someone named Nick Clark. And Nick basically said, I'm a cadet at the Air Force Academy. I know you went out with these people, and I want you to know that he came back, or these people came back and said that you slept with him. So now there's this rumor going around the whole academy that you're an easy target kind of thing. And Nick, I think, served the purpose of sabotaging anyone I was meeting if they were associated with the Air Force Academy. Of course, the person that I met and went to the movies with was like, I want nothing to do with you, you weirdo. And so shortly, I don't know, a while after that, I started actually more seriously dating Air Force cadet named Mark Hansen. Then, of course, Nick Clark made a reappearance, and I was getting pretty consistent messages from him. And so he said, we need to find out who's doing this. And he got me a meeting with the Office of Special Investigations at the Air Force Academy. I sat with them, and they kind of laid the emails out on the table, and they said, we've had like a forensic psychologist, sort of professional, look at all these emails, and it's Dan, is what they said.
Carrie would go on to explain that despite their suspicions, there was never enough evidence tying Daniel back to the messages she received then. Everything had been sent from a public library, and because of that, her accusations remained just that, suspicions. But even without proof, the similarities between the two women's experiences are impossible to ignore. And for the first time, detectives begin considering a fourth possibility they never imagined. What if Daniel has been playing everyone? What if he's been impersonating Anthony?